Hi, and welcome to the Total Recall Show. Today we're talking about The Godfather.
The Godfather. Good thing I brought my wise guy wad over here.
The little silk purse. And we'll show off our Italian last names. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and Fantastic Four Grand
Very
Design.
Italian.
Yeah, very Italian.
And I'm Matt Zeoli.
Oh! You know, it's funny that we reviewed the Sopranos movie, The Many Saints of Newark, before we reviewed The Godfather. But that's the way we do things.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we did, one of our first episodes was Mario Puzo's Superman.
It was.
Yeah.
So he's in the Total Recall wheelhouse.
Yeah, we got that, and like we had a little graphic where it's like the
Genius
the
graphic.
Strings holding up the Superman logo. Oh, you know where I missed the boat? Have the hand with the strings holding up the Superman logo that's dripping blood like the 90s Death of Superman. Yeah, we saw it in the theater. It was that theatrical re-release.
I thought I was never going to be able to see The Godfather on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not everybody's screening that.
Right.
And then the theater we go to had like a summer of blockbusters.
Yeah.
And we were like, we gotta fucking see The Godfather.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it was a nice print of it too. That was like the question was like, oh, how's the print? And it was great. And there's like because we went to see it. We went to grab some pizza before, and somehow
pairing.
our order got messed up, and so it took like over an hour for us to get our pizza. So we had to like scald the roof of our mouths, eating this pizza at high speed, and then running to the theater to catch it in a rainstorm, torrential rainstorm, and like. The pizza was just taking longer and longer. And we reached a point where we knew, okay, we're going to miss the movie. So now the question is just, like, what's going to be going on screen? We
made a bet.
We made like a bet about what we're going to see on the screen, like, as we walk in. So my thought was, we're going to walk in, and as we walk in the theater, we're going to see Luca Brasi getting, with his eyes bugging out like Arnold Schwarzenegger at the end of Total Recall when he's got no air. And we were going to what's the name of the guy who played Luca Brasi? He was like a wrestler.
Oh, shit, I can't remember.
Lenny something.
I can't.
Lenny Koznowski. Lenny Kravitz. What was his name? Lenny something. But he was like a famous... And then there was the big...
Godfather remake Lenny Kravitz.
There was the big story that like... Because of course, after I saw that, I'm reading the Leave the Gun, Take the Cannoli book. Wrestler who played Luca Brasi, like at some point after the movie was all done and stuff, he just like showed up at the house of like Al Ruddy or one of the producers or somebody involved, and just like smacked him in the face like super hard.
Oh my god!
Because like there'd be all these stories about there'd be some people in The Godfather who like you'd think, oh, they got to be really in the mob, and then they're not. They're just like whatever actors or whatever. But then there were some people who like were legitimately connected.
Shit.
To,
I think I accidentally slapped the main man. I'm in trouble here.
So when we showed up, and like sure we missed a chunk of the movie, but we had a great time. Saw like plenty of the movie, and kind of seeing the movie with new eyes. When you see it in the theater, see it with an audience. And like on the big screen, you notice stuff. But like, so when we got there, we didn't get there as late as I thought. We got there like right at the end of the wedding. We got there right at like, okay, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go dance with my daughter.
Yeah. He's like, you come to me on my daughter's wedding day. It's me.
So I'm gonna go to my daughter's wedding, and then he goes out and dances with Connie, and then we get and start with like the waltz scene.
Seeing these actors perform on the big screen was such an amazing you don't think you're gonna see vintage Pacino or rest in peace James Caan.
Yeah, you're right. Nuances in performances and stuff that I only noticed from like seeing it on the big screen like that. Like there's the scene with Sollozzo where he has Tom Hagen, and then he tells Tom Hagen that the Don is dead, and I never noticed this before, like watching it on TV or whatever, that like you see Robert Duvall, like an actual tear. You see a tear come. It's like very subtle, like it's a small tear, but it's there, and like I'd never seen that before. And then that they sort of like that place where they're keeping Tom hostage, like all the times I've seen it, I didn't know where they were, but this time it's like you can see very clearly it's like an abandoned diner. Yeah,
love it. And then
and then you step outside the diner and you're in like an orchard of Christmas trees. Yeah,
secret Christmas movie, by the way.
Right,
I'm gonna watch that again during Christmas time.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, you notice then at like Sonny's house and stuff, there's all these like Christmas cards tacked to the wall, and you can always read them. You know, like all these little details that were always there. It's just they don't quite register unless
home
you're seeing
video.
on the big screen. Yeah,
and it's like it shouldn't be. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? It's like, is The Godfather a Christmas movie?
Yeah, completely.
You got James Caan kicking, doing his famous street brawling.
Now, like Johnny Russo would always tell these stories about how like James Caan like really like hit him and really attacked him and stuff like in that scene. And you like just my memories of that scene. You'd like watch that scene. And it's like, well, it's obviously like you see him doing sort of Hollywood, combat kind of stuff where it's like you can tell he's not really hitting. But then I realized, okay, this thing's multiple takes, multiple angles. Maybe that angle he's not really hitting them, but maybe there's some other like shots where could be. Hello, Carlo. Johnny Russo, who plays Carlo. There's a scene that like it just strikes me so funny. Like there's that scene where Michael has Carlo, and it's finally like Carlo's moment of reckoning, and he's like, Carlo, you're gonna pay for Santino, and then Carlo's like, oh, this is it, and then Michael starts naming off all the names of all the people that he's killed. He's like, I killed off Bruno Tattaglia, Mo Green, Stracci, and like when like and Johnny Russo, like Carlo's keeping it together when he's naming all these names, but when he says Stracci, like Carlo like starts breaking. Oh, no, not Stracci. All those other guys, I'd be okay with this, but not Stracci. That's not Stracci. Like he really starts losing it when he says Stracci. And I just say like that always makes me so like what is like is there some like lost like I read the book. I don't remember Stracci and Carlo being so tight, but he really loses it. Like the other stuff doesn't bother him too much, but when he says Stracci,
he's like Stracci, Zeoli,
Bruno Tattaglia, Scioli,
I killed Zeoli in the shitter.
Mazzioli, but yeah, it was Stracci. For some reason, Stracci really like. Stracci. It's a funny one to like kind of hit on,
That's
I've settled all family business. I got rid of Mo Green, Bruno Tattaglia, Stracci.
No. Mazzioli. He's like he was in the middle of a wipe and
yeah, like there's like all those great like death scenes in that baptism scene where they cut back and forth between the baptism and all the Michael Ricci, do you reject Satan? But like they cut back and there's all those great, and it's been parodied a bunch of times. There was a like Saturday Night Live parody where it was like I think it was like after Godfather 3 came out, and then it was like Godfather 4, the next generation, or it was like a future like outer space Godfather sequel, and so then they're showing like Michael's memory flashing back to all the people he's had killed, so you have all those scenes, Mo Green and all that stuff, and then they have a scene of like this like bug-eyed alien wearing like a trench coat going no
Stracci, I killed Mazzioli on the shitter. For some reason he takes off all his clothes when he shits.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That's the thing. There's all the like because like Bruno Tattaglia's like in bed. Bruno Tattaglia's in bed when he gets killed. Mo Green's getting a massage when he gets like shot in the eye and stuff. And then it's like Mazzioli's got like a big sub sandwich, that like explodes
on the toilet.
Yeah, on the toilet. Eat a big sub sandwich that like explodes.
Embarrassing. He's like he takes off all his clothes when he shits for some reason.
Stracci.
He eats on the toilet.
Is it
disgusting?
Yeah. Disgraziato. Maron. I think I told you like the first time I saw The Godfather, like my grandmother was watching it, and me and my cousin were in there, and we're like, "Oh, what's this? Oh, it's The Godfather. Oh, did can we rewind? Can we see it from the beginning? Oh, it just started. You didn't miss anything." Now, my grandmother had just put in tape 2 So I don't know if to her it was like a little white lie, but she was not going to start back from the beginning for us. So so I saw The Godfather backwards. I saw tape 2 and then tape 1.
Classic. You know what? You knew the movie's epic when you got your movie had 2 VHS tapes.
Right. Yeah, and you got all the It kind of has a built-in intermission.
Yeah, and like. Yeah, she's like, maybe he'll buy it. She's like, look, I'm putting in the movie, and it's starting at the beginning of this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a white lie. I did just put it in. You get the Apollon. Like a lot of people talk about how The Godfather and The Godfather 2. Oh, I don't know which one I like better. Godfather 2 might be the better movie. I mean, that to me that's bullshit. Like The Godfather 2 sucks compared to The Godfather. Like it's a piece of shit compared to The Godfather. But I think people are maybe getting confused. Maybe they're like. Mandela effect or whatever. They're like getting confused with like Godfather 1 tape 2. They're getting that confused with because sometimes like people would be like, oh, like I think people kind of in their memory assume all that stuff happens in Sicily is part of Godfather 2 because there's a lot of Sicily stuff in Godfather 2. But like the Sicily stuff in Godfather 1 is so great.
My brain's rotting. So like isn't De Niro in the flashback in part 2?
In the flashback in part 2. And that's that's some of the it's kind of cool seeing these De Niro parts and stuff, but like The Godfather 2 just it isn't
Godfather 1.
Yeah, it's not The Godfather 1. It's
I'm smart,
nice try. I can handle things. I'm smart. I'm not dumb, not like everybody says.
John Cazale, would love John Cazale.
Yeah, of course he's like Pittsburgh royalty because he played a Pittsburgher in a Deer Hunter.
Oh, what? Yeah,
I can handle things. I'm smart. I'm not dumb. Not like everybody says.
I remember like Godfather. Like my mom loved movies. Yeah. She mentioned The Kiss of Death.
Okay, yeah, give him The Kiss of Death. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
And my cousins would watch it all the time.
Yeah.
Same with like I remember they were watching Apocalypse Now. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what is this? I watched it halfway through.
Right. Yeah, you're the the annoying kid. Come on, we're trying to watch this movie. Yeah. This fucking guy.
This fucking guy. I got him. Hey, I need a little walking around money, all right? Let me wet my beak here, all right? I want a taste of the action.
How many people who have a broken neck and live?
It's the fucking Terminator.
Yeah.
Dude, I accidentally gambled away the boss's cash. You won't believe who they're sending after me. This guy fucking broke his neck and he survived.
Yeah.
We gotta go down to Florida till the heat cools off.
Details. The hospital scene is like...
What a great scene.
Since we've seen The Godfather, I went so deep with all the Godfather lore that it's kind of like I kind of have my Godfather PhD. And you know what I read like a couple years back that was great was they had the Coppola's Godfather book. They made this replica of his Godfather book where when he was asked to make the movie, he just took the novel and he would take a page and then paste it onto like a big, I don't know, like a wedding album kind of piece of paper, like piece of cardboard or whatever, and had this book. And so then he'd write in the margins like all his little notes, and then he'd like cross out the parts of the story that he wasn't going to use. And it's amazing just paging through this and reading it and seeing like how the book turned in. Yeah,
did you see it?
I got it out of the library.
Oh man, I'll score that.
Yeah, it was just this amazing relic. Like there's so many great little pieces of like Godfather stuff. Like it's a very well documented movie, and having checked out all this ancillary Godfather stuff, it is like I know how the sausage is made, but like I still get caught up in it. But like there are moments where it's like, oh yeah, like the sound of like the train passing overhead in like the restaurant scene or whatever. Of course, that's like none of that's there actually.
Yeah.
It's all piped in, and the scenes in the hospital. There's like all this tension and all this mood, but it's like it's such a simple shoot. It's just like a guy in a hallway. And
the way
and just like a close up of food of like half-eaten food.
The way they shoot it, you think Enzo, like I love it. You think he's like coming to like kill the Don.
Yeah, right. It's me, Enzo the big, and yeah, he's like his hands are shaking, and like Mike is like a World War II veteran. He's like a combat veteran or whatever, so he's kind of, he can keep his cool. Where this other guy is like
just got off the street.
The scenes with McCluskey and stuff. It's like, oh, I'm getting too old for my job. Getting too old and grouchy for my job. Like. Those like you can sort of see details in there too on the big screen, and the silhouette work is really good too because it's like sometimes when somebody's in silhouette in a movie, like if you're watching it on the big screen, you can kind of make out detail. But there's like, when he steps out of that cop car and stuff, and he's just in silhouette, like a very imposing presence, and you don't see a bit of detail in there. It's just like,
pure silhouette.
Yeah.
Like Stanley Kubrick. Killing.
Right, my head's filled with like trivia. Like, what's his name? The writer of The Godfather.
Mario Puzo.
Yeah, Mario. Yeah, see, I'm so full of Godfather trivia. I almost know the name of the guy who wrote it.
It's the Dogfather.
Yeah, the Dogfather. Yeah, when I was a kid, my dad had because Godfather mania was so huge, but like my dad had the this like novel. It was like a Godfather parody called The Odd Father.
Oh, that's amazing!
And it was Don Guido Provolone. It was,
that's fucking great. Like I was thinking about like mob comedy movies, and I have queued up to watch Oscar with Stallone. His character in that is called Snaps Provolone.
Okay.
And Wise Guys, Brian De Palma's Wise Guys, and then Johnny Dangerously. We could do a Joe Piscopo double feature.
Wise Guys was directed by Brian De Palma.
Yeah.
That's the one with Danny DeVito.
And Joe Piscopo.
Wow, like, I did not know that was Brian De Palma. Like, when I was a kid, I loved... Like, that was like our family movie. Like, the whole family would watch it. We'd crack up. We'd quote, "Thank you, Mr. Acabana." Like, we would quote that movie all the time. And, oh, man, watching it. I didn't realize... Wow, that's a good pedigree. I see, because my memory of the movie is like, oh, it's like this shitty, cheesy Joe Piscopo movie that we just happened to love because we were kids. But no, it's De Palma. I got to check it out.
Dude, we should watch some Wise Guys.
Wise Guys. I got to check out Johnny Dangerously also. Like, I mean, I love that movie too. When I was, not as much as Wise Guys, but I love Johnny Dangerously. And again, like.
Drew Struzan poster.
Haven't checked it out. Yeah, the Drew Struzan poster. I haven't checked that movie out in a long time.
We could do. It's a Wise Guys, Johnny Dangerously double feature because Joe Piscopo's in both.
Yeah, Joe
of them.
Piscopo's in both. Yeah, Joe Piscopo. He was like the king of Hollywood, like for a minute.
We love him. Like, remember,
I was there for it. Like, it's not. It's like he was a big deal.
SNL.
Yeah,
you were cracking me up doing his Frank Sinatra stuff. His joke.
Yeah, some good Frank Sinatra. Because Frank Sinatra did not want The Godfather to get made because the Johnny Fontaine character, he based on him or whatever, and the Johnny Fontaine character is kind of minimized in the movie. There was a lot more of him in the book, and it was a lot more insulting. So that's why like Sinatra did not want this movie made, and I think he kind of changed his tune about it eventually. Mario Puzo was like super excited to meet Sinatra. Like he was at a restaurant Sinatra was at, and he was super excited to meet him, and he had no idea that like Sinatra like hated his book and all this kind of stuff. And he like introduced, and like he said like when Puzo said when I was a kid, there were like 3 pictures hanging up in the house, and like it was like the Pope, John F. Kennedy, and Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
And it's like, oh man, I'm
God.
meeting like royalty. I'm meeting, and Sinatra was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Stick it up your ass.
Oh my God! Imagine the chairman of the board. He's like, "Oh no." Yeah, like George Lucas did the same thing to us when we were out in Hollywood recently.
Here's to you, sucking my dick. He like why don't you get lost? Take a walk, hit the pavement. Yeah,
because when
beat feet, Puzo.
When we were out there, like once again we were trying to have all those meetings and schmoozing and stuff.
Yeah, Total
Recall the movie, trying to get that off the ground. But then George Lucas said when he came out to the fence and he said "beat feet, sizzle chest" to me. I don't know what.
Yeah, baloney tits.
Baloney tits. He said "beat feet, sizzle chest."
Now, when Sinatra met Puzo, and Puzo was so excited and stuff, and then Sinatra starts like insulting him and stuff. Like Puzo can't help, like it all of a sudden, just like his fight or flight kicks in, and he's fuck you, Sinatra. Like all of a sudden he's in this like fight with Sinatra, and it's like, dude, you better calm it. Like they're pulling him away.
He's the guy with the broken neck's gonna come and fucking crack a pipe over here. Yeah. He's like, here's to you, sucking my dick. All right.
Puzo wanted Marlon Brando to play Don Corleone, like from the beginning. He was like, I wrote this with him in mind, and the studio was like, it was like stunt casting. It was kind of a crazy idea. Like he was kind of washed up, and notoriously difficult to work with and stuff. They're like, nah, and they're, I think like Danny Thomas, like there were a bunch of people who like had their hands on the rights for a little bit or something like that, who wanted to play the Don. A lot of people.
There was some like photos I've seen from the set where like, once again, it looks like where Brando wasn't learning his line. It looked like they had like his lines like on these cards. They
that's how he works. Like that, like he was like that in Superman. He had it like all through Baby Kal-El's spaceship. He had little Post-its,
That's interesting.
Well, because his philosophy is he wants these words to come out like it's the first time he's saying them. So like if you memorize it, it's going to come out rehearsed. But if you just have a bunch of and like you're kind of saying and you get that from his performance, like in his brief moments in Superman, you kind of get that sense. Like
that's
an
interesting
cadence.
An interesting take to perform. Yeah. I would be like the band, like a musician thing where it's like you can practice till you know it frontwards and backwards, and then it frees you to do like
then you can riff.
Then you can just like
that is how I would tend to approach things too. But
that's intriguing.
It kind of makes performance exciting though, to like have that very real danger going on. It kind of kicks something into gear. And I mean, you can't argue with the results.
Oh my God,
he's one of the greats. And he's like method. The sort of like pre-method or post-method, non-method kind of thing is like try not to get involved with props too much. Just kind of like do your thing. Just do your thing. But like method is like get props. So it's like play with this or that. There's like the scene where he's like, playing with his rose on his lapel, and he's like, no matter what that Undertaker says about, and then even the thing of like the cat on this, it was just there was a cat on the set, and so it wasn't in the script or anything. He just starts playing, petting the cat and stuff. And
that's so interesting. The method always interests me too. Like with method, is it supposed to, like I don't really understand. But is it like because there was always a thing where Daniel Day-Lewis, it's like, he lived as something. Yeah,
he is Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. It's like, that's so cool. That's interesting. I like all these different like acting
these ways of
philosophy. That's so cool. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I have like I show up on set, but there's like it's not the method. It's not Brando's thing. It's like I don't know the script. I'm like, this is my or I'm like
it's
this
a risk.
Is my move.
You can see why the reputation of being difficult or something would attack, because it is kind of like, come on, be a professional. Like this, like the method, like when you come in with these like new ways of doing things, the old guard does kind of view them as unprofessional because you're not, following the rules of professionalism. But sometimes it's like it's an art and a craft, and sometimes the art, like you don't want to be too rigid.
There was some story I heard of like from a Marathon Man. It was Dustin Hoffman acting with Laurence Olivier.
Okay, two different acting styles. Yeah,
and Dustin Hoffman had was staying up to try to be tired. He didn't go to sleep. Yeah. And then Laurence Olivier was like, it's called acting.
Acting. The parody of the method or was whatever is like, oh, they're all mumblers or what, they mumble. And like that was like a thing with Marlon Brando when they were getting the first scenes back for The Godfather. It's like, we can't hear him. All we hear is the purr of this cat. You're going to have to fix it. When Coppola was working on it, like it's a really interesting example because it's like one of the greatest movies ever made. And you would assume it's like some kind of passion project that like Coppola always wanted to make, but it was like a job. It was something that was kind of handed to him. He wasn't even that excited. He wasn't even like that impressed with the book or whatever. But it's kind of like as he got into it, he kind of got into the project and then was able to create this like great work of art. Which seems to me to be a lot of like where the great works of art sort of come out of things. It's never like what you would imagine of like somebody sitting on a mountaintop. And
because like you had mentioned too. It started out. They thought it was like going to be like a pulpy like crowd pleaser or like
and they kind of
sleazy kind of like
they reached a point where they were like, okay, we got to have an Italian directing it. It's got to be like an Italian American or whatever. Like just for like the optics or whatever. And then it was like talk about like the right guy for the job, and he was such like sort of an artsy director and did his passion projects and stuff, and it's just they happened to catch him at a time when like his company was going under, all these like artsy things he was doing, like it just wasn't working, and he needed some quick money, and so here's a job I can take, and ends up making something great. But his concept initially was that this movie was going to be out of sequence. Like it wasn't going to be like a strict chronological. It would be like Michael is coming out of the movies with Kay, and then he sees the headline, that Vito Corleone is dead, and then you see Vito Corleone coming out of Janko olive oil company, and then you see Vito Corleone get shot and stuff. So there's like all this. So all this, that was his idea, was out of sequence, and eventually like the end product wasn't that. It was like the end product is very sort of linear, but like and whether that was like his decision after kind of seeing it go to, or maybe some of the back and forth with the studio and all the people, like, and all the people who kind of like a success has many fathers, a failure is an orphan. So like there's a lot of people claim that they're the ones that made it great or whatever. So who knows? But like that was an interesting, and you can kind of see it in some of the scenes where it's like, oh, I can see how this thing was like intended to be that way, out of sequence. The beginning of the blockbuster era as being like Jaws. Like Jaws was it, and then Star Wars, but it was really The Godfather. Like they said, like Godfather was kind of the beginning of like these lines around the block and stuff.
Like a force of nature.
Yeah, and that they were saying how hard it was to film there because everybody was like, because it was a hit book. It was like it wasn't like it came out of nowhere. It was like a hit book and stuff, and so. They're filming in New York, and everybody's like, eh. Like,
oh, I love that in movies. You see a scene where people are talking, and then on the other side of the street, it's all the pedestrians they've cordoned off. Yeah. Car chase in like a 70s movie, it's like the whole, like all the town came out to like watch the stunt or whatever.
Well, there's all the famous stories and stuff. So like when we're watching the movie and you see like Michael Corleone comes out of the restaurant after he shoots the guys, and then he like jumps onto the side of the car as it pulls away, and they said that like he like broke his leg or something. Oh my God! Filming that scene, so like watching it on the big screen, I'm kind of like trying to see like
see the injury,
and like the mother, Mrs. Corleone in the movie. Like I found out she was like an opera singer or so, or like a jazz singer. She was a jazz singer, and it's so funny because like when she's singing, like it sounds like she can't carry a tune, so I don't know if she's like acting. Yeah, if she's like trying to just sing like a normal person. But did a great job.
I always love when actors have to pretend they don't know how to act in a movie. Yeah. It's like what their idea of non-acting is.
Right. Yeah, there's like a Liza Minnelli movie where she's like teaching a dance class, and like everybody in the class is supposed to be like a hopeless, horrible dancer, and then by the end of it they're like amazing. So like it's like a bunch of like professional dancers who are like pretend they're bumping into each other.
I got two left feet.
Bumping into each other with like precise choreography.
Godfather was great.
Yeah, that was a great time at the movies, getting to see The Godfather on the big screen, and man, the food looks so good when you can see it up close.
Oh my gosh! Like, and then. When they're eating, they're laying low. I think they're having like Chinese.
Yeah, Chinese food out of like sort of cardboard cartons.
Looks delicious.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of stuff like from reading the book. Like, they're when they're having that scene, they're talking about like, oh, the hostages, how are the hostages doing? Oh, they're feeling good. And it was like in the book, there's like a family that like they are professional hostages. It's like they were too dumb to make a living in any other field. So what their job is they would rent themselves out as hostages. So like if you were trying to agree to somebody about something, you'd like rent these guys out. Like these guys would sort of stay with you, and then if you get fucked over, you kill the hostages. And so, but if you kill the hostages, then that family of those hostages come and like kill you or whatever. So it was like insurance. If like two rival groups are having a meeting, they have these guys who volunteer to kind of be hostages until everything's resolved. And so I'm assuming those hostages got fucked up when Michael shot. Yeah, I guess it was like and Puzo's research. He did copious research on it. So like he's just like he said it was like the hardest book for him to write because it was just all this research to like find out all these little ins and outs. And like also like in the movie they would talk about like Pop had I wish I had a real consigliere, a Sicilian, a wartime consigliere. Papa Janko, what do I have? I have like who's like let me say Jocko or who's Jocko, but it's Janko olive oil, the company. And like in the book, at the beginning of the book, they're like on Janko's deathbed. They're visiting Janko Abondando, who was Vito Corleone's business partner in the oil company, and he was kind of like the senior partner, and he was the junior partner, and the place was named after him, and he ends up as Vito rises to power, he becomes his consigliere and stuff, but like he dies, and so it's like the family doesn't have a consigliere anymore. Now we need Tom Hagen's filling in until we get like a real Sicilian consigliere.
He's like what is he? Is he half Italian or is he half Irish? Just all Irish?
He's all German. He's German Irish.
Irish.
Well, my McCruff friend. Well, my McCruff friend. I don't care how many Goombas come out of the woodwork. Let me tell you something. Johnny Fontaine with his Guinea voice and olive oil charm. He took one of Walt's Pix's greatest proteges and she ran off with him, only to make me look ridiculous. Well, a man in my position cannot afford to look ridiculous. And let me tell you, you can tell the Don this, so you know I'm not a hard-hearted man. It's not all about dollars and cents. She was beautiful. She was the best piece of ass I've ever had. And I've had them all over the world. Now you get the fuck out of my house. And you tell that boss of yours, I don't want any rough stuff. Oh, because I ain't no band leader. Oh, yeah, I know about what you did with that band leader. I'm no band leader.
That's so fucking
Now get the fuck out of here. Well, my client, likes to hear bad news fast. So.
That's when you were doing that whole thing
when my pizza shows up. Let me tell you something. Just so you know, I'm not a hard
somebody
man.
like Fox and you're like, get the fuck out of my house.
Get the fuck out of here. Tom, how are you enjoying your meal? Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff, like eating a meal and like, oh, you enjoying your meal.
I love it when the Italian, the owner comes out, he's like, how's it going? How's your meals? How's the kids' meals doing? Oh, it's like, what? That's not, you don't like that or whatever? It's like, I'll take this back. We're like, we're gonna...
Yeah.
It's like, how's everybody I love it, talking about like the fucking, like the owner of better believe this. How's
everything good? You liking it? You liking it? Good.
You're liking the meal. Oh, this is great. It's great to see you. How the kids doing? You're liking it? Oh, that's too cold or whatever. It's like, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna take this back. All right.
In the scene where Michael kills Salazzo and the police, it's like, how's the Italian food in this restaurant? It's like this is at a time when Italian food is just so exotic. You can't even imagine eating.
You're at the Olive Garden.
How's the Italian food at this restaurant? That's what we got to. We got to do some hidden camera stuff.
Yes!
We got an Olive Garden, and we say, how's the Italian food?
We have to do an episode from the Olive Garden.
Try the veal. It's the best in the city.
The owner comes. He's like, how's it going? How are your meals tonight? Right? It's like, I have my napkin tucked into my shirt.
That food looks good there too.
It does. I love the Olive Garden too. We go there, but I put a tablecloth on the table, like a checkered tablecloth.
They got one of those old-fashioned toilets with the tank above. Mike, make sure it's perfect. The place is perfect. Nice. Everybody minds the business. Now that gun better be there, because I don't want my brother coming out of there with just his dick in his hand.
We do this.
Reenact.
We have the Godfather scene at Olive Garden.
Yeah.
I get arrested because.
Yeah, that's getting me. My brother better come out of there with more than just his sausage in his hand.
It's like dude. I'm like, I promise everything's set up perfectly. Your brother's not gonna come out of there with his sausage in his hand, all right? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Godfather, you're gonna love it. A cake. It's got the bride and the groom. It's
we should do a hidden camera thing. I'm dressed like Don Corleone, and you. It's like there's a Tommy, like the whole like I'm like I have cotton in my mouth. I'm like, how is the meal here? I
love that. I love how all the different guys are that come into his office, and that baker guy is so obsequious. He's like, oh, Don Collier, can I lick your butthole, Don Collier? Oh, you're gonna love this cake. Oh, and he's like, just get out. Oh, you can. As he's backing out of it, he's like one compliment after another.
When we got the Olive Garden, like, what is your?
Get the tiramisu.
What's the first line? You're like,
what were you like, sir?
I
believe in America. America made my fortune. That was one of Coppola's big contributions to it. Was like there was a bunch of stuff that happens in the book before that scene, but he's like, no, we got to start with the "I believe in America" speech.
You're like, what kind of Italian food at the restaurant?
Is there good Italian food at this restaurant? Try the veal. It's the best in the city. We'll take 3 veals.
3 veals. He's like, we don't have a veal on the menu. It's like, 3 veals here.
Me and Michael are gonna speak Italian. Are gonna talk Italian.
The waiter's there. He's like,
Mi padre.
He's like, do you want the unlimited salad and breadsticks? Me and Michael are gonna speak Italian. All right. He's like,
hello, Carlo. That was kind of the big thing, like with Godfather 2. Like there's this character in it who kind of represents the old way of things, and he's nostalgic for the old way of things. And that was going to be Clemenza, but like they couldn't get Clemenza was like he was holding out for more money. So it's not having Clemenza, like it's bad enough. Like Godfather 2, the starting point. You don't have, you don't have Brando. You don't have Sonny. You don't like
Jesus.
Like, the movies that like how can anybody possibly compare these two? Like, yes, you have De Niro. That's great, but you're like missing so much personnel.
And De Niro and Pacino aren't even like they're in 2 separate like time periods. They don't even share the screen together.
They're like, fuck. We should have killed off. We shouldn't have killed off Abe Vigoda. We should
have
killed off the other.
God,
we'd have Abe Vigoda for the next.
Didn't Mowgli? He gets shot in the eye on the massage table?
Yeah, I always wondered how they did that. I guess there was like a mechanism in the glasses that like squirted
splatted blood.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
At the Olive Garden.
Mo Green. You do not talk to Mo Green like that, Michael. You do not come to Las Vegas and talk to Mo Green like that.
What is it?
And when he's telling the girls to get, he's like, scram, beat it, scram.
That's it, Mo. Like, what does he say when he's ripping on his brother or like Mo?
I gotta bust some heads sometimes.
Your brothers.
Your brother. He's fucking cocktail waitresses 2 at a time. Players couldn't get their drinks. In the book. Like there's a lot more sex in the book. The movie's very chaste by comparison, but there's a lot of sex in the book. And in the book, Fredo is like a total ladies' man, and like he's having threesomes, and he's involved in all this. Like Fredo is like banging more than. But to the Don, this is a weakness. This is a bad. Like you need to be a family man, and you need to come home to your wife at night and stuff like that. And he says that Fredo is a lackey to women, and that this is like a disgraceful thing. He's a lackey to women. So
I gotta read this book.
You gotta do it. You gotta read it. And you know what? If you get that Coppola book, you can actually read The Godfather. You can read and see the parts he crosses out and stuff, but you can still read it.
Awesome.
I'd do anything for my Godfather. Like that's kind of like in that scene, because there's a lot of fake outs in the movie and things and red herrings and stuff, and it's like, he comes there to talk to Johnny Fontaine, and it's like, it's just kind of like low stakes. He's like, I want you. We're gonna open up some casino. We're gonna buy out the casino. We're gonna open. Gosh, Mike, Mo didn't say anything about that. But Mo loves the business. He loves the casino business. But he talks about like we're gonna open up hotels and we're gonna need some entertainment, and if some of your Hollywood friends to come, if Liza Minnelli and Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin could come out every night. Like he says that, and it's like, and he's like, I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. Like, it's like what did he expect Johnny Fontaine to say? Fuck you, Mike. I'm not telling Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. and the rest of them and Liza Minnelli. I'm not going to tell them to come out. But fuck you, fuck you and the horse you rode in. Like, of course he's got. Sure, Mike, I'd do anything for my Godfather. You know that. You know I'd do anything for my Godfather.
Dude, there's some
Mike,
great
suck a dick.
fuck yous in that movie. Like, what a great line delivery.
Yeah.
I'd do anything for my Godfather.
Mike, you know I'd do anything for my Godfather. Right.
We go to the Olive Garden. You exclusively communicate with the waiter in Godfather lines.
I didn't realize. I think Mo Green is supposed to be Bugsy Siegel.
Oh shit!
I didn't realize that. So it's like Mo Green kind of he's got the glasses and stuff, kind of like a nerd look and stuff. But so realizing that now, watching it, it's like holy shit! Like he's like I thought he was just kind of fucking around with some low level kind of guy who's owning a casino. I didn't realize he was saying this stuff to Bugsy Siegel. Of course,
that's wild.
I can make a deal with Buzzini and keep my casino.
He's like, suck a dick.
Yeah, the Corleones don't have that kind of muscle anymore.
Your
brother's fucking cocktail waitresses 2 at a time. So I gotta smack something. You raised your hands to my brother. Don't raise a hand to a Corleone.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
Don't
ever go against family with me.
Oh shit.
Like a blockbuster without any kind of special effect beyond sort of the Mo Green's eyeglasses or something. But no CGI, no spaceships, no nothing, and to kind of hit like that and hit you in the gut, multiple times.
It's the Godfather cinematic universe.
Yeah, or the Many Saints of Newark might be part of. But again, it's there's the scene where he's supposed to find the gun in the tank, and it kind of takes him a while to find it. And there's some good tension there where you're like, what if it's not there? Because they did establish that it is very possible that they won't be able to get, maybe the tape didn't stand, it fell in the toilet. He's pulling it out, a turd drips off of it.
He's like, all right, the guy that played, he's like, I hid the gun in the toilet, but it wouldn't fit in the tank, so I put it in the bowl. And I had to hide it. So I put a bunch of turds on it. I had to block it with
camouflage,
my gigantic
turdiflage. Clemens is the one who plants it, so it's covered with cannoli fingerprints all over it. He has to lick the cannoli fingerprints off so Clemenza doesn't get arrested.
He's like, he's like, it wouldn't fit in the tank, so I put it in the bowl. But I had to camouflage it, and I had drank a lot of vodka for breakfast, and I had a venti coffee, so I squirted diarrhea into it. I'm sorry, Michael.
I'm sorry, Michael.
I'm sorry.
Can you get me off of this one for old time's sake?
For old time's sake.
For old time's sake.
He's like, I have one question. Will gun submerge the diarrhea fire after? He's like. That's the tension comes from. It's like, will the bullets fire after soaking in diarrhea?
Yeah, right. It's Chekhov's gun, Chekhov's diarrhea gun. Now, and he tells him, come out there shooting. Come out of there and start shooting, and then just drop the gun. Don't look. But then he doesn't follow any of the instructions. He comes out and he sits back. There's tension where it's like, oh, he was supposed to come out and start shooting. Why isn't he?
You're not following directions.
Yeah, and then he shoots them, and then he doesn't drop the gun right. Like, why aren't you dropping the gun?
The tension, because the other guys at the table were like,
yeah, right.
Something smells.
Pacino's fucking up. It's like you're a bad actor. You're not following. You were told to drop the thing.
I had to
Apollonia.
I had to put turds on it to camouflage it. He's like revolted. There's a toilet full of diarrhea.
Mi amo Vitelli. I remember my dad telling me a story about somebody him being in Italy and somebody doing that. And it was my dad comes to Italy, and then they view him as the rich American, so they're trying to marry people off, try to get him to marry. This is before he met my mom, and they're doing that in The Godfather, and my dad has a story like that too.
That's
where it's
amazing.
And then my dad said, they were going to him hey, you and her, hey, and then my dad said he did this, when they were going this. My dad did this, and My dad said he had to get the fuck out. Like he didn't realize like that
amazing.
he was going to get murdered. For, like it's a different thing. You know.
Yeah, you learn all the. I learned this one, and then the.
Yeah, and then this. I've seen this too, like this,
Yeah.
like you know, because I see people do this, but then like I feel like real Italians do this. Yeah, my dad did that, and then had to get the fuck out of town because he was going to get murdered for you know, he was just being playful or whatever. The guy was going like, yeah, fuck you.
It's in traffic. I'm like, hey, yeah.
That guy, that Vitelli, he reminds me of my dad. He's kind of built like my dad. Like if you take the mustache away, that guy. So I always. I get a little choked up in that scene. My dad didn't have a mustache, but Vitelli, mi amo Vitelli. Oh, you know, and it's so funny when he's talking about, the girls. Oh, yeah, the girls are very beautiful, right? And he's like, and he's like, no. You know, and then you hear all the screaming and like plates flying and stuff. Come on there, get him.
My dad has a mustache. I need to bust one out one of these days.
Yeah. Mi amo Vitelli. You know, urban legends or whatever, and it was like, oh, he had cotton in his cheeks or he had toilet paper in his, but it's like he did have cotton, but that was just for like the screen tests and like early stuff. But then by the time they were actually filming the movie, they had like a prosthesis that you would put in.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm choking on these cotton balls.
And they filmed, of course, obviously they filmed stuff out of sequence, but some of the first stuff they filmed was the stuff in his office, and like. Studio was like, okay, we spent all this money on a set. The desk itself cost a bunch of money, and we can't see any of it. Everything's like pitch black and stuff. But it's like, you know, he was going for a mood. Yeah.
I love the look of the movie and like the lighting. There's a lot of darkness in the movie, like shadow.
Of course,
stuff.
yeah. You're making this like sort of shadowy movie about like, you know, the underworld, the Cosa Nostra, the Black Hand. You know, if you're Italian American, you know, it's like. This is our mythology. This is our, you know, like some people have cowboys. Some people have, you know, I don't know, Greek mythology or whatever. Like we have these mob
guys.
Yeah, is our sort of mythology.
I crossed the coast of Nostra, Tom. They're sending the guy with the fucking neck. The guy got his neck broken in 3 places.
And still alive.
And
he's still alive. He's still. He got his neck broken, and he's still alive. You better make that deal. Bad news for you, consigliere.
They're gonna crack a pipe over my fucking head. I'm gonna be in cement shoes, Tom, at the bottom of the Hudson River.
That was another thing. They said they wanted to avoid like a lot of cliches with them, and I think they did a good job of avoiding cliches. Nobody got cement overshoes, concrete galoshes.
The first time I saw cement shoes was in the fucking Speak of the Devil, the Jerky Boys movie.
Okay, yeah, because that's where it belongs. It's like so over the top. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and Fantastic Four Grand Design.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And you've been watching the Godfather episode of Total Recall. Check out Jacktober. It's a month-long celebration of Jack Kirby with a series of drawing prompts that are Jack Kirby related. Use the hashtag Jacktober. Check out my Twitter presence, at Tom Scioli on Twitter, at Tom_Scioli on Instagram, and go check out my Patreon. If you join up there, you'll get access to my archive, and you can check out the stuff I'm working on currently and things I've been working on for the past couple of years.
You can follow me on Instagram at cinema_tomb and follow the show at total_recall_show.
And so yeah, we'll see you. You know, we'll make you an offer you can't refuse. You know, sometimes people will like kind of like you know, make you an offer you can't refuse, and it's like that so you're gonna kill a horse and put it in my bed? Yeah, is that what you're telling me?
Like, I would like to have cement shoes one day, but not like go into water, like just see what it's like to have them on.
Right. That's right. Yeah, that would be interesting. Like if they open up like Godfather World at like Universal Studios or something, and like you can get your feet in concrete.
That's hilarious. It's like it shows this little kid like he's like, Mom, look, cement shoes.
or like wooden shoes or something. When you get the sort of like wax hands kind of thing.
Oh, that's awesome. Like that. They sell like bats. It's like the
Billy Bats.
The Billy Bats.
You could beat Billy Bats with the bats.
Or like on the Joe Pesci show.
You know, I wonder in like because they say sometimes like you name a character after you know like a thing that happens to them or a character. So like Dorothy Gale gets caught up in a gust of wind, a gale, you know, and taken to another world and stuff. I wonder if Billy Bats. It's like he gets killed with a bat. You know? I might be getting my Scorsese movies mixed up. I think Billy Bats maybe doesn't get... I think somebody comes up behind him with a bat and hits him. Or maybe I'm thinking of Frank Vincent. That's the actor, right?
Yeah.
When maybe I'm thinking of Frank Vincent when he kills Joe Pesci in Casino.
Oh,
uses a bat.
yes.
Maybe I'm crossing because it was Joe Pesci kills Billy Bat. I think a bat was involved. Maybe
I think you're right. Like, and it made me think of the on Saturday Night Live. It was
the Joe Pesci show.
Joe Pesci show. He's like, riddle me this, riddle me that. Say hello to my big fat bat. And then that's the type of bat that's at the Godfather Universal Studios thing or the Paramount thing. It's like a real floppy like flimsy bat that the father gets beat on the head with.
That or like from the Untouchables.
Oh my
Robert
God.
De Niro baseball bat Untouchables. Joey Bag of Donuts.
Joey Bag of Donuts. Or it's like how did he die?
Leave the gun, take the cannoli. I'm Tom Scioli. This is Matt Zeoli. My dad starts begging him. He leaves the village just like this backward, like walks all the way back to the airport like this.
Well, it's like
Pepiageri. We got Mo Green, Bruno Tattaglia, Bazzini, Stracci. Not Stracci. I was okay with Mo Green. I was okay with Bruno Tattaglia. I was okay with Don Barzini, but not Stracci. Not Stracci. Tell me you didn't kill Stracci.
Zeoli. That's what I killed in the toilet eating a sub.
I'm the Godfather to your son. You think I'm gonna kill you? No, Carlo. You're out of the family business. That's your punishment. You're out of the family business.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you so much.
Now go get in that car with that
the guy in the back seat.
Clemenza's in the back. Hello, Carlo.